Okay, let's get started. So let's take a look at the VFS folder where we actually define two system call functions. And so to do that, first we have to go to the table.c where we actually put in the function in the system call table. So at 0 we have our get classification function here, and at 69 we have our set classification here. And we also have to define a function prototype. So, define the function. And we do that in the proto.h header file. And if we go to miscellaneous.c, is where I believe I stored it. There it is. We have the declaration of the get level and set level functions. And we actually implement them in the, two C files that we created in this folder, get classification.c, which is here. You see the get level, and set classification.c, which is further down. I believe it's right there. You go. And so, okay. And we also, since we created two C files, we also have to include them in the we also have to include them in the make file so they compile. And so you see the get classification.c file here and the set classification.c file here. And we also had to go to the source include Minix folder to define a macro for the system call table in the call number.h file. And so there's one at 0, which is the index of the get classification, function, and in the table in the VFS function table. And at 69 we have the set classification equivalent. So, and with that, that's how you implement these system calls in the VFS. We also have a system call to implement in the MFS as well. So if we go to the MFS folder, we see that we included this modify classification.c file, which is actually the function we use to modify, to allocate space for the classification level for each file, and to store it and receive the value. And to do that, we have to go to the table.c file again, and we see here that we included our modify classification function at index 0. We had to create a function, declare the function in the function prototype. So under miscellaneous.c, you should see our modify classification function there. And we created a C file where we actually implement here. You can see there again. And finally, we have to go to the make file and make sure that the C file will be compiled by including it here. Okay, so we also had to define the system call number, but rather than in the car.nh file, we do it to the same folder, the include Minix, but we actually put it in the vfsif.header file. As we're using a different function call, we're using send requests, and so we had to create a request number here, modify classification right here at index 0, and that calls our function that we created in the MFS. Finally, we also had to create two system call libraries to do so, and they include we actually had to define our system call prototypes in the uni.scd header file. Do so towards the end of the file, almost near the end decal here. You see here that we have our two function declarations for classification, where we get our file name and new level, and our get classification, where all we need is our file name. And we actually implement these functions in libc, system Minix, and here's where the folder that we actually create, implement our functions. I included two new C files, classification.c. Here we have our implementation of the classification system call library, And here you can see the system call that we make using the number that we define in the call number.h file. And we have another one for set classification, which is right here. And as you can see here, again, we're using our set classification macro that we define the call number, and it's making the call to the VFS where we actually implemented this system call, which was great. And since we created two C files, again, we want to go to Minix. Well, sorry, we want to go to the make file and make sure that the C file actually compiles. And so in the get classification, you see that here we included two files, get classification.c and set classification.c. That's really all you need to do to add in the system call functions. We also added in some man pages. We just went to user source, we went to man1, where we added in a get classification man page and a set classification man page, and to make sure that it compiles, we included it in the make file of this folder. So in the make file, you see our get classification.1 man page and our set classification.1 man page, and that's really all the changes we had to make to Minus in order to get this project to work. So thank you.